Yo, yo, yo! It's the 90s! We used to say words like, yo. You guys remember a show called Yo MTV Raps? It was a good one. Man, I hate this age, you guys. I hate this age more than you think you hate this age. Like, I promise I hate it more than you do. I wish that people would get their smartphones removed. I think that that's like the next thing that needs to happen. My friend Todd and I were talking about this last night. How like Americans have all this freedom, but like all they do is fucking abuse it. And they end up hurting themselves as well as others. But I feel like using social media as a platform for like character assassination, I feel like that hurts the person doing it a lot more than it hurts the actual person that's being assassinated. That was cool. Dude, this is what it's like to just shoot videos randomly. Like the lighting will change and shit'll happen that you can't control. Like a car will like drive in front of you and almost hit you. That almost happened to me like about 3 minutes ago. Do you like this backdrop? This awesome comedy club backdrop? Every time I sit down on the ground, I'm always like paranoid that I have like bugs crawling on my asshole. And then like I just start thinking about it and like obsessing about it. And then like my asshole itches and I think it's because like there's a fucking insect crawling up. You know, these are just thoughts in my head. Check this shit out, you guys. Crystal Pepsi. My first thought was like crystal meth, right? I was like, oh my god, that's genius. Like you can just drink meth. Pepsi was like looking to like rope in the fucking what do they call them? Meth heads? Oh. No, but they call them tweakers. Pepsi was looking to rope in the tweakers. My second thought was, oh, this is vodka. I don't know why. I thought like red, white, and blue. I just think like fucking alcohol. Because that's what you should be doing if you're an American. You should just drink all the time. That's like the only way to deal with this shit. See, I don't drink anymore, so I have to find like other means of survival, you know? Cigarettes really isn't a good example. I'm so paranoid. I'm paranoid. I'm always paranoid. That's a pretty constant state of mind. But yeah, I get paranoid about shit, and then I still. It's crazy. Like a lot of people complain about things, and I notice this. They complain about things that never change. But it's like I'll talk about how paranoid I am about something, and I still, you know, like I'm paranoid about cancer, and I keep smoking, and I'm paranoid about insects crawling on my butthole, and I'm still sitting in the grass, in the dirty ass ground, like that. It's kind of hypocritical. Well, it's just silly. It's what it is. Just I'd rather sit here than not sit here, so I just have to deal with the paranoia and try to move on. But I'm so tired, man. Tired. People being ugly to each other. Tired, man. I'm so tired. Shout out to Michael Clarke Duncan. Oh, I love you. He's dead, you guys. So he's somewhere in the clouds. A lot of people like to think that Morgan Freeman is God. You know, he's played God and he sounds like God, but I think it should be Michael Clarke Duncan. And he's in the clouds, so makes sense to me. I think I'm going to start worshiping Michael Clarke Duncan. So fucking hot. I don't even like Pepsi. The only reason I bought this was for, like, the comedy experiment. It was like, why I buy anything stupid, really? That's what's cool, though. Like, as a comedian, like, you never stop working. There's always shit to poke fun at. There's always shit to vent about. There's always shit either about the world, about the country. Well, it's always about the country. Society in general, you know? But especially, you know, your own personal life. Like, I can't tell you how many jokes I have about the fucking food industry, you know? Like, I am lucky. I am blessed. I am blessed by Satan, you guys. Perhaps Michael Clarke Duncan is Satan. I don't know. It's like, I live in this fantastical world, so, like, anything's possible, you know? But a lot of people live in that world. They just live in a world that other people have created for them, you know? Boring. Those people have, like, no creativity whatsoever. Make up your own story. It's way more fun. I just farted. That's what that face was. Like, you might have heard that one. So, I don't know if I've mentioned this. I probably have. I made the terrible mistake about a month, maybe a month and a half ago. I don't know when I made this mistake, but I made it. I decided to join Instagram. And I made this mistake because a black man, yes, a black man, told me to do that. Like, as a comedian, he was like, oh, well, you should, of all the social media sites that you'd want to get on, it's that. Even though everybody says it's Twitter, but I just think it's, like, too easy to get on Twitter, you know? And, like, something I've noticed is that, like, a lot of celebrities, like, are, like, putting out memoirs. And I believe that the only reason they're doing this is because of, like, their, like, fucking Twitter followers. They're like, oh my god, like, I'm actually funny. Holy shit, I'm gonna write about my quirky perspective being famous. You know, like, nothing against Anna Kendrick. I love Anna Kendrick. She's adorable. But, I mean, it's just something, like, a lot of celebrities are doing that. And, I mean, Anna Kendrick's actually funny. I don't know. I don't like memoirs. Like, I feel if you actually have, like, a really, like, profound life, maybe if you don't have a profound life, you just have a really profound perspective on life, like, I feel like it's acceptable, but I feel like just, there are too many memoirs in this world, and, like, I haven't read every single one of them, okay, like, I'm not gonna say that they're all bad, because I love David Sedaris, but, you know, like, unless you're really funny, or unless you're really profound, it's just kind of pointless, you know? It's like, okay, so, I have, like, several friends who have, like, teachers that, like, professors, like, that taught them in college, and, like, they put out memoirs that are, like, really shit. And I know they're shit because, like, you can just tell by the cover that they're shit, right? And, I mean, sometimes I'll just, like, look, like, I'll open a book. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but a lot of times you can just open a book and just pick out a passage and you're like, you know, this is shit. It's kind of like the Bible. But, yeah, sound so arrogant. I do. So I guess that's why I started doing this musical memoir thing, because I'm just making fun of the whole memoir idea that, like, if I can't make fun of my life, then there's really no point in me living. Uh, but anyway, back to Instagram. Every time that I'm like I'll debate on like if I should just leave, and then like I'll notice that people started following me, like people that I haven't seen or talked to in a long time, and it's just kind of stupid because like these people were never like really like important to me in my life, and I was never important to them, but for whatever reason they feel the need to pretend that we were more important to each other than we actually were, and so they're like, I'm gonna follow you, you know? Or they like set their account to private or whatever, and they're like, oh, this my pictures are only for people that are important to me or whatever, you know? I think it's kind of stupid to like try to like privatize your shit on the internet, because remember, it's still on the internet. So if somebody really wants to hack it, I'm sure they can figure it out. Yeah, I feel like there's no easier way to be a liar than to just get on the fucking interweb and declare who you want to be. You know? Like, here's the thing. I used to be on Facebook, like, back in the day. Like, back when it first started, I was on it. Like, it was, like, a college thing. It was, like, Facebook was, like, strictly a college kids website. Well, there actually used to be college Facebook. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what happened, but, like, I mean, it was really popular among college kids. And so that's really the only reason I was on the site. But I'd find myself obsessing about it, and I'd be, like, running back to my dorm room, like, in between classes to, like, check my Facebook account, which was stupid because nobody sent me a message or, like, wrote on my wall or, you know, what is that they do where they poke you? That's retarded. Um, like, I don't know if they still do that. They might not. It's changed a lot. But I was, like, religiously on Facebook, like, back in, like, 2005, 2006. And it just made me feel like shit, made me drink all the time. And I mean, I don't want to blame Schmuckerberg for that. That's not his fault that I was an alcoholic. But I'm just saying that it's a lot easier to stay an alcoholic if you're on Facebook, because there's always stuff that you can drink over, you know? Like, if you play drinking games based on Facebook, you should do this. This should be a joke. Yeah, I really should. This is me, like, studying everything from the sidelines, trying not to get too involved, but I can't help it, you know? Like, I'll make the mistake of, like, looking up some celebrity that I really like and respect, and then I'll discover that they're just, like, tweeting about the same shit that everybody else is tweeting about, and it's, like, so depressing. It's like, wow, I probably shouldn't have gone on Twitter, because now, like, I think less of this person that, like, I admired, all because they're tweeting about the president. It's just so typical, you know? Like, I feel like I have really good, sincere jokes about what's going on. And I feel like they're a lot more sincere because of the fact that I'm not, like, well, first of all, I'm not trying to promote myself. I think that's weird. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Like, I've noticed that a lot of people do that, you know, whenever they get up on stage and they do their like 4 or 5 minutes. They're like, hey, come see me at this shitty dive bar tomorrow night. It's gonna be terrible. You guys should totally come. You know, like, and like I see all these comics that I do this with, and they're like promoting themselves on Instagram, and like, I mean, I get it. I guess it's a good way to do it because everybody's following that now. It's way better than doing it the way that I do it, you know, and insisting on, you know, being counterculture. And I mean, it's like I've done social media. It makes me feel like shit, and I feel like it makes everybody feel like shit. They just don't realize it because they're just addicted to it. It's just like fucking any drug abuse, you know, like you can be like, yeah, it's okay that I vomit if I don't have this, you know, it's fine that it's fine that I'm freaking the fuck out if I can't get a hold of my drug dealer. That's fine, you know. It's like you'd see people doing that if they couldn't connect to the internet, or they, you know, they go someplace that doesn't have fucking like free Wi-Fi, you know, like, oh my god, like people are just retarded when it comes to social media and smartphones. And it's like, that's why I don't think that Americans should be allowed to have smartphones, because Americans aren't very smart, you know. So it seems like that would make sense for Americans to have a phone that does everything for them. Like, no, though. No. No, though. Like, don't encourage Americans to be stupid, because they will gladly utilize that opportunity. And I don't feel bad saying this anymore. Like, I used to feel really bad for this perspective that I have, which I know is like very, very negative. It's very pessimistic, and you have an apocalyptically negative perspective. Like, you talk about how the world's going to end with glee. Like, you're just so excited about it. Well, yeah, because people are stupid. The world's shit. Nothing's getting better. I mean, things might get better for like a minute. And it's like, nope, just kidding. Back to the shitter. I guess that's why I'm so cool, you know? Like, I just don't give a shit. And like, when you're used to just feeling the fuck out of everything, and, you know, not being understood by anybody in society, and, you know, you'll get really shitty advice from like really boring ass people that are like, oh yeah, you should totally be yourself. Like, you don't know who I am, bitch. Don't know. If you did, that would not be in the suggestion box. I mean, I'd like to think that people can handle me, but I mean, anytime that I try to be optimistic about people, it's just terrible. I mean, I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but I just naturally assume that things are going to be shit, but I still, you know, am hoping that I'm wrong, but I'm always right, you know? Like, people care about all the wrong things. And now you think, like, most of these people that are, like, angrily tweeting and fiercely double-clicking, taking all these pictures of, like, what they think should be important. I mean, I realized that, you know, taking pictures of things, like, it's become a pastime. I feel like because people are trying to, like, enhance the flavor of life. But that's stupid, because you're not really doing that. You're trivializing every moment that you have. So things that might actually be important and like worthy of like documenting, like it doesn't really matter anymore. You know, when you're documenting a piece of pie, like what people just, they take pictures of really stupid shit. They take videos of really stupid shit. And I know what you're thinking, well, you're doing videos of fucking everything. But here's the thing, y'all. I'm showcasing my fucking personality disorder. There's something artistic to this. There's something creative to this. There's something that I'm trying to, like, help the world. There's something to it. I don't know where I was going, but I get it though, man. You care. You're passionate. But I feel like I'm passionate for the right reason. I'm passionate. I'm fucking passionate. But like, everybody's all fucking riled up about the Nazis and about the president and how much of a shithead he is. It's like, people are just stating the obvious, you know? Like, Nazis are bad. White supremacy's bad. No fucking way. Like, people are afraid that if they don't constantly bitch about it, that they're gonna be portrayed as a Nazi, or they're gonna be thought of as like, oh, she supports the Nazis, or like she supports the presidency because she's not constantly bitching about it, you know? Like, it's just like people that I talked about this earlier. People that get offended by like a stereotype, or like any kind of conversation that could be interpreted as like racist or sexist or whatever. Like, even if you're just trying to talk about something, it's just like the fact that you have any kind of opinion about something, and it could like relate back to race, or it could relate back to sexual preference, or something that is controversial in our society. But here's the thing, it's controversial because of all the shit that America has done. Like, and so there's that like white guilt, like white people are really uncomfortable if anybody says the N-word, because like, they're just like, oh my God, like I have to act like this really, really upsets me, and that, or people are going to think that I'm a racist, or that I don't give a shit about racism, and all, it's like maybe that person that said something like wasn't intending to be racist or anything, but it's just the way that it came out. Like, words are tricky, man. Words are fucking tricky. I mean, I've already gotten in trouble. Here's the thing, when I use the N-word, I was like trying to say something positive about black people. Like, anytime that I use it, it's just me trying to represent the white race in a terrible, terrible light. Like, but if you don't understand satire, you're just gonna hear the N-word and get upset. So, I don't know, it's tricky though, especially down here. And people are extra on edge about it, like people in the South that aren't racist. And there are those out there. I know them. Like, there's a huge difference though between being a racist and being uncultured. And there are just a lot of people, a lot of white people that are just, they're not cultured. And so if they, hear a perspective by somebody that is cultured, they're going to be like, oh my God, that's racist, because that's how they think they're supposed to react to it. But I prefer working with minorities over majorities. They're much better workers. Because they have to work. They have to work to survive, They don't have everything fucking handed to them. I know I've said this earlier. It's like, I feel like I'm just repeating things that I said earlier. Yeah, well, it's something that's on your mind because you're angry about it, There's really no way, though, to be like openly crazy and have that work out. I realize that. Because people will always be afraid of something that's different, you know? They'll always be afraid of somebody that goes against what everybody else is doing. And though there are definitely people that appreciate that perspective, you know, because it's fresh, it's new, it's something they've never heard of, there are going to be way more people that don't appreciate that, you know? They just rather live in their own little bubble where hashtagging means something, you know? And they don't want to hear some really hostile, aggressive, crazy ass piece of shit, you know, like me, talking about, you know, what's fucked up with them. Yeah, but that's why you gotta sculpt it, baby. You gotta make it like, if you want to bitch about the world and if you want to bitch about how stupid society is, you gotta bitch about yourself too. Like, you gotta take the joke from all angles. Shout out to Monty Mitchell. You were so fucking funny. See, he is as Southern as it gets, and he is fucking hilarious, and he's not fucking racist, you know? He told me that, like, when he found out that I said the N-word, he's like, man, that's ballsy. But, you know, there are a lot of people that won't say it because they're afraid of, like, they're like, man, well, I already sound like I'm a racist, or people already think I'm a racist because I live in the South. And I'm like, that's why you gotta prove that you're not. I'm tempted to just, like, start, like, taking, like, a caravan out to Nashville with, like, all my, like, black friends. Anytime I got, like, racist material that I want to say, I'll just have, like, a lot of black up. Like, I'll have, like, 20 black people in the audience that are there for me only. And, like, yeah, she can say that, you know? Like, I don't know. Because, well, it's different, though, man. Because, like, it's different performing in front of your friends that know you versus performing in front of a bunch of people that they just see you as some crazy bitch, you know, and you're just up there saying crazy shit like the N-word. Like, thinking that it's totally fine. And they probably assume that it's because, like, you're crazy, that, like, oh, she just thinks that she can say whatever she wants. Now, a part of that's true because I don't have a filter, but it's like, if I'm saying racial stuff, it's because, like, I care about racial stuff. It's not just because, like, I want to just offend everybody. I want to say something that matters about, like, oppression that I see fucking every day in this country. And, you know, I've worked in restaurants for a long time, and, like, so I guess that makes me cultured, in a way. I haven't worked at every single restaurant that's ever existed, alright? Don't hold me to that. But I've worked at a lot of them. I'm just, like, over people getting offended by stuff. Like, I'm gonna tell you something that somebody said to me. A friend of mine. He and I fought like cats and dogs. I worked at this little, like, Asian slop diner called Payway. It was, like, an Americanized Asian diner. And I worked with this guy who's a lot like me. Really fucking moody. Only I feel like he was more of a classic borderline because he lashed out at people. He lashed out at me one day and I ended up having, like, a PTSD panic attack. Now, I don't blame him for that because it's not his fault that happened to me. But he initiated it, but it, you know. I don't blame people for my psychological problems. That doesn't serve anybody, especially me. So, anyway, like, we got along really well, but then there were days that we didn't get along. And, like, one of those days, God, I remember this like it was yesterday. Okay. I was chopping cucumbers. Like, you don't chop celery. I mean, you chop cucumbers. I was chopping cucumbers, and he was like talking shit to me, so I was talking shit right back, and I was like threatening suicide. You know, just making a casual joke about suicide. And a lot of people in the restaurant industry do this, not just me. But he said this immediately when I threatened suicide. He said, "Oh no, don't kill yourself, Amy. I'll have to rape your dead body." Dude, I couldn't even get offended by that. It was just so fucked up. Like, I just started laughing. I was like, that's great. Like, I never thought that anybody could say something more offensive than me. But he fucking took my cake and he ate it. Dude, I told everybody I knew about this. I was like, oh my God, this motherfucker at work told me that he would rape my dead body if I committed suicide. And like, everybody like got offended by that. You know, they're like, holy shit, like, how are you not mad? How are you not upset by this? And this was like before I discovered comedy, right? But I mean, I don't get offended by anything. Like, what's the point? He still said it, right? But I actually took that shit as a compliment, you know, because I was like, oh, wow, really? Even if I was dead, you'd still want to have sex with me. That's crazy. You're telling me a lot about yourself now. See, I got into a conversation with my manager about necrophilia. I'm like, does it really count as rape? And he was like, well, they can't consent because they're dead. And I'm like, yeah, but that's really just a technicality. Yeah, I mean, I don't, call me crazy. You will. You're gonna. You probably already are. Good. Shit. But, yeah, like, I think that raping a live person is a lot worse than raping a dead person. Well, because if they're dead, I mean, they're not feeling anything. They don't give a fuck. They're fucking dead. It's just fucked up, you know? I'm not saying it's not fucked up, but I'm just saying I feel like it'd be worse. Like, I'd much rather you rape me if I'm dead. Like, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying kill me so you can rape me, but, you know, if I'm already dead, fuck it, right? Literally. See, you know how offensive this shit is because I'm talking about rape? Like, I mean, yeah, rape is bad. I'm not saying it's not bad, but, like, say that I can't fucking joke about it. I can joke about fucking anything. Like, jokes are free. I just can't expect anybody else to laugh.